Привет, I'm Carl and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my YouTube channel, then greetings and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be going through some myths and legends from Slavic culture. Alright, so first I'd like to talk a little bit about Slavic people. So Slavic people are a group of people that originate from Indo-European roots that once shared a common language as well as an area of descent. So basically, for the language part, as I said, many languages originate from the Indo-European language family, such as Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian, Polish, Czech, Slovak, Serbian, Bulgarian, Serbian, Croatian, Macedonian, Slovene or Slovene, and that's all I can think of right now. I have them written down actually, so I'm not actually thinking of them on the spot, but generally that's what I have so far. But generally Slavic people, as I said, they're a group of people that originate from Indo-European descents, so some parts of Europe, and yeah. By the way, my hair might look a bit wet. That's because I took my shower recently. But anyways, on with the first myth of Perun and Veles. I'm sorry if I said the names wrong. So even though the Slavic pagan religion wasn't monotheistic, which means there's only one supreme god, such as Christianity has one god. So there was this god called Perun, and he's kind of like Zeus. You know how Zeus is like the ruler of all the other gods, and also like the king sort of. And Thor is kind of like the ruler of like high heavens and all that. So basically Perun was kind of like that. There wasn't only him sort of, but he was kind of like the ruler of the other gods. So his counterpoise is Veles, a Ctoctic god related to waters. So while Perun rules the living world from his citadel, which is like basically like a palace placed on the highest branch of the world's tree, Veles is a Ctoctic. I have no idea what Ctoctic means. When I googled it, it's like Ctoctic, so I was like, maybe that means something. It basically means someone that lives in the other world, and in this context, he lives there and also rules it, so yeah. He's the god attached to waters, ruling from the roots of the world tree. So like the tree of life, I think. I'm gonna explain that later. So basically, he's wet because he's the ruler of the underworld. He's like... I'm not gonna repeat that. But basically, the myth itself consists of Perun chasing a serpentine creature, which is Veles, or Veles. I'm so sorry for the names, guys. Veles manages to trick him and escapes while transforming into various animals. The belief is that Perun decided not to kill Veles, but to send him to the underworld, the world of the dead, where he basically, like, belongs, if you were to put it that way. But yeah, so if you were to put it into that sense, also Veles is the ruler of the underworld, and if you were to compare it to Greek mythology, he's sort of like Hades, except he can turn into animals. Well, Hades can also turn into animals. Basically, they're just different cultures, you know, one's Greek, one's Slavic. Like, basically, also something I'm going to explain before I continue the rest of the stories. A lot of beliefs, like pagan systems or pagan religion. By the way, pagan means that's something that's not from, like, a main religion. Basically, if you were to take, like, Hellenism, for example, there are some things that are very similar to Slavic culture or Slavic beliefs, because basically, or Slavic mythology, and that's because they're all kind of interrelated, because they were kind of in the same era, right? So a lot of things are pretty similar, but they're not the same culture, if that makes sense. Like, every culture has their own twist of stories, and the reason why there's that saying, like, every culture has a twist of its own, you know, like every culture has something similar in the end, that's because there really was, like, they're connected in some sense, but they're not the same. But yeah. So next up we have Vila, or Rusalka. So basically, Slavic mythology has like different names, like depending where you're from, so it might have a different name in your culture, but basically this myth is one that basically is like one of like the biggest sort of myths from Slavic culture, and it's actually used in a lot of pop references. So basically, even J.K. Rowling's, I don't know how to pronounce her name, is like the Harry Potter writer, basically. She actually represents them as incredibly beautiful female humanoids with the ability to drive men uncontrollably wild, mostly by performing sensual dances. But basically, in Slavic mythology, they're stunning but demonized creatures with beauty so unique that it's beyond mortals' imagination. So in Greek mythology, for example, you have the nymphs, sort of. Yeah. So basically, what happens is that these creatures are from women who drown before they get married. So it's dark. But basically they're gorgeous, and they're either naked or dressed in a transparent silver robe. So either way, they're sexualized heavily in pop culture. So their hair is silky green and long, reminiscent of water grass. I don't know what water grass is, okay? And they usually have a crown made of flowers and herbs. However, basically these looks came with a price for men who wanted to dance with them. Basically the legend says that they're charming looks lured men who either danced with them and burnt out, or came too close to the water and drowned. Yeah, in some other stories, basically they're incredibly beautiful creatures that can shapeshift into animals such as snakes, wolves, swan, horse, falcons, you name it, you know? But practically the main story of here is that they're women who drowned before they got married. They're incredibly beautiful. If you try to dance with them, you'll either die of exhaustion or you'll drown because you get too close to the water. So this one is incredibly very popular and also very scary. So we have Baba Yaga. So Baba Yaga easily is one of the most famous myths that came out of Slavic mythology, and it's still one used in some rural areas as a folk tale. So basically Baba Yaga is an ogress who is said to steal, cook, and eat her victims. And it's usually children. So the closest comparison to her would be a witch. I'm a witch, so you know, but she might be a different type of witch, you know. And since also she rides a broom or like a mortar, so she rides a broom, so like, you know. And basically her primary target is children, and Baba Yaga's stories are to this day used as parenting tools to scare children who are misbehaving. Yeah, I'd be scared if you were to tell me that like some random old lady would be like kidnapping me, cooking me, and then eating me. At least she cooks people before eating them, you know? And basically she's said to live in a house far in the woods, and it's often used to discourage children from roaming too far from their home. Basically her house is quite unsettling, standing on chicken leg stilts that are capable of moving around on their own. Even though the character of Baba Yaga is exceptionally creepy, particularly for like young children, like obviously young children, if you were to be told like this story as a kid, it'd be traumatizing. But basically she's also linked to murder and cannibalism, and she's not entirely evil. And I don't know how she's not entirely evil, but like, you know, for those who like are lucky to face her and manage to like trick her and like leave, and therefore learning respect, she'll be very happy to help. So I guess that's how she's good. She helps you if you try to escape her before she kills you. And basically in modern folklore, Baby Yaga's character is quite similar to a certain character in the Brothers Grimm's stories. Can you guess who? This is giving Dora vibes, so I'm just gonna say it. So basically it's really close to Hansel and Gretel in like modern tales. So maybe the Grimm brothers like got the idea from the story. I have no idea. But basically Hansel and Gretel also, like, I'm pretty sure I mentioned inside a video, there are many beliefs on where it could have come from. My hair is so puffy and it gets everywhere. There's a lot of beliefs on where Hansel and Gretel could have came from, and it was also partially due to the Great Famine and stuff like that. And it was like from very sad stories where parents would leave their children in the woods so they could get the food for themselves and stuff. But it might also have something to do with Baba Yaga. But yeah, anyways, next story. This one was honestly one of like the scariest or like most unsettling to even Google about, and it's Kimimora. So basically, if you ever had sleep paralysis, I personally never had, I think, you can know how scary it can be. By basically, like, I can't imagine how it could be scary, but I imagine somebody that sits on your chest, on your lap while you're trying to sleep and tries to strangle you to death. That's pretty much what Kimimora is, right? Anyways, so basically in a sense what happened is that what was told inside ancient Slavic tribes is that they believed that Kimimora would do that. And basically there are several house spirits in the Slavic world with different characteristics, and Kimimora is one of them. So Kimimora emerges as a quite unappealing female creature, usually deformed or having some animal extremities, like the ones from a dog, rabbit, or chicken. So it could be a rabbit ear, rabbit foot, chicken mouth, anything, you know. But as it goes, this evil house spirit can shapeshift into a beautiful woman. What's especially eerie about this spirit is that she hides in the dark places in people's homes, living in the attic or behind fireplace and stoves. This is very creepy, you know? Specifically, Kimimora can enter your house through a keyhole, and you can notice her presence by sounds similar to the ones made by like a mouse that's like chewing like. That's not how a mouse sounds, but you get the context, you know? Specifically, the spirit is blamed for many negative things in domestic homes, from food going bad to causing nightmares. So yeah, they're like, oh, my tomatoes have rotten. It's Kimimora's fault.
Oh, our food has gone missing. It's Kikimora's fault.
Oh, I can't sleep. It's Kimimora's fault.
Oh, I ate all the food that's on my fridge. It's Kimimora's fault. You get it, right? I should have started with this one, but next up we have the Tree of Life, since I kind of talked with it, about it with Perun. But yeah, so the Tree of Life might actually be considered the core of Slavic mythology, since it connects the creation of the world. So as I said, you know, like Perun and the other one that I forgot his name of already. So in general, trees had a special place in all the Slavic mythology, and they were a big part of the oldest traditions. So essentially, every tree was connected to a deity. Deity. To which they confessed their sins, praised, and gave sacrifice. Okay, my dog is barking. But yeah, for them, a tree was more than just an aspect of nature. It symbolized the circle of life and its cosmic rebirth. So yeah, basically their most important tree was the oak tree, or the tree of life. So basically, the roots of this holy tree symbolize the underworld, as I mentioned at the beginning, and the trunk is the earthly world. So basically, like the living realm, like the world we live in right now, was represented as a tree trunk, while the top is reserved for gods and divines. So as I said, Perun was at the top, right? So the Slavic version of Olympus was that top of the tree. So the god of thunder, Perun, is portrayed as an eagle sitting on the crown of the tree. The crown of the tree means the top of the tree. And Veles, the serpentine creature, his name was Veles, that's his name, is at the roots inside the underworld, because the roots are the underworld. So this was followed by the belief that Perun protected people and their homes from Veles, especially during the storms, because apparently Veles was blamed for storms, so the underworld was blamed for storms. So otherwise, Veles could have hidden inside their house disguised as a serpent and cause havoc. But yeah, so I don't know why I didn't start with the Tree of Life, because basically it's the core of Slavic mythology, right? So this was actually the last legend or last myth that I was going to talk about inside this video. So make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I actually now made an upload schedule. Yeah! It's been months since I've been trying to make one, so like I'm kind of delayed on that. I was supposed to make that like 2 months ago. So I'm gonna put the picture right there. So I'm gonna try my best to follow this. I'm really gonna try. So basically, I film on Tuesdays and then I upload it on the next Tuesday. So there should be a video once every 2 weeks, apart from certain months such as December, which will have more, and depends the context of what's going on inside my life, but I would update you guys on that, just because I want a more steady upload schedule, and like hire my analytics, but yeah, which is very, 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 very important for me, guys, that you subscribe and like this video, because it keeps me going, and I enjoy what I do, and I would appreciate it if you guys supported me by subscribing and liking this video. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys inside the next video. Bye, guys!